Hey there, welcome back to the athomedive YouTube channel. As always, my name is Joey and today we're in the kitchen making something fantastic. We're going to continue down that road of Easter traditions. So today we're going to make Koulourakia, a Greek Easter cookie. So sit back, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive right in. Today on the counter for the Koulourakia, we have super simple list of ingredients as usual. We're going to start off with 150 grams of unsalted butter that's almost to room temperature, not quite. I have 2 eggs, 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of lemon zest, or about 1.5 lemons worth. I have 3 cups of AP flour. I've also got sliced almonds and sesame seeds. We're only going to need about 2 teaspoons each, and those are completely optional. Also, I'll be getting out milk later to make the almonds and stuff stick, but we don't need to mess with that till later. So, let's get started. First, I'm going to beat the butter by itself for just a second until it starts to loosen up. Then I'm going to add in the sugar and beat it until it's light and fluffy on medium. This could take 3 to 4 minutes. Then I'll go ahead and add in the vanilla and lemon. Now I'm going to add in 1 egg and then mix slowly until it's fully incorporated. Then I'm going to add the other egg while the mixer's running. Now I'm going to add in the baking powder and sift that in just to make sure it's nice and smooth to avoid any clumps. And I'm going to add about 1 cup of the flour, holding back the remaining 2 cups.
Moments later.
Now we're going to slowly add in the rest of the flour, and very soon it's going to get too thick for the mixer.
A few moments later.
Now with our dough too thick for the mixer, we're going to go ahead and add in the rest of this, but now we're going to start to work the dough together. I'm just going to roll the dough and flour into itself for now, just to get everything nice and incorporated, and then I'm going to dump it right out onto the countertop. I'm going to try to make sure I rake my bowl quite well to not leave anything behind. Now that the dough's out here, I'm simply just going to work the dough and knead it together, making sure that it all forms into one homogenized dough, not leaving anything behind. Now that our dough has came together and it's nice and smooth, it's very soft and delicate and it's starting to get a little sticky, but not bad. It really just feels like cookie dough. I'm gonna go ahead and place this into a bowl, pat it out a little bit flat. I'm gonna cover this in plastic wrap and leave it in the refrigerator for 20 minutes and then we'll come back and check on it. So we are back and it's been about 20 minutes and we're gonna go ahead and pull the dough out of the refrigerator and I'm gonna grab a small handful of the dough. I'm gonna take the dough and I'm gonna roll it on the countertop and form it into about a 5.5 to 6-inch cylinder. The dough may be a little crumbly at first, but once you start working it and it starts warming back up just a little bit, it should be just fine. If you have extra dough at the end, feel free just to pull it off and then you'll be left with your cylinder. As you do this, you'll learn about how big of a handful you'll need to get. I like my dough to be about as big around as my finger. Here comes the fun part. You can shape the dough into any shape you choose. So for the first one, I'm gonna choose an S. I'm gonna start by just rolling the end and then start with the other end and roll it as well. If your first cookie doesn't look that good, that's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and look at this as our first cookie and I'll set this aside. I do have a tray here lined with a silk pad and I'm just gonna set it right over onto the tray. The next cookie, I'm gonna roll into a different shape. I'm gonna choose the circle for this one. And that's literally as simple as just rolling the dough right out into a circle. So there's our circle cookie. The last cookie that we're gonna roll out is gonna be a braid. So to do this, I'm just gonna roll out and then I'm gonna fold the cookie over itself, just like that. And then press it just a little bit, and then when I flip it, I have a very simple braided cookie. These are the 3 cookie shapes I'm gonna be making. I'm gonna go ahead and do those real quick. so here are our cookies, and I'm gonna go ahead and spread these out in just a moment to kind of fill in the negative space. But I wanna show you that these are my first cookies, and these are the ones that I did after a few runs. So if your first ones don't look so great, feel free to keep going. They will get better as you do it. This happens to me every single time I make the cookies. These are just fine, and they're gonna turn out great, but they're not as pretty as these. So I'm gonna spread these out and I'll be right back. Now that these are all spread out, I've got about a tablespoon of milk and a pastry brush. I'm simply gonna dip in and coat the cookies with the milk very lightly. It doesn't take much. Essentially, we just wanna get enough milk to make them wet so that the toppings stick well. So now I have some white sesame seeds and some sliced almonds. Now I'm gonna go around and just simply sprinkle these on top of the cookie. You can do as much or little as you want. It really doesn't matter. I like quite a bit of almonds and a little bit less of sesame seeds, but they're both fantastic and come out quite well. Now it's time to put these into our preheated 350-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll come back and check on them. We are back, and as you can see here, the cookies have came out of the oven. They're firming up around the edges. This is not a super soft traditional cookie. It's more like a shortbread cookie. So we're gonna let these cool down for a minute, and then we'll come back and pick one up and check on them. So here's a better look at our cookies. They are cooling down. They're almost ready to go, but as you can see, they look really good. There's a couple of them that were maybe a little bit too big around in a few places, like this guy here, maybe just a little bit fat, but most of these look really good. So let's go ahead and break one open and taste it and see how it is. As you can see, we have a light, flaky cookie with a similar texture to a shortbread cookie here. It's very soft on the inside with a slight texture on the outside. The almonds and sesame seeds are slightly toasted, and the flavor is fantastic. It's really light and refreshing, lemon flavored. All right, well that wraps us up on how to make Koulourakia, the Greek Easter cookie. So comment below and let me know how yours turn out. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe. Have a great day.